What's going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video. And today, got another video for you talking about the best picks of day 2 in the 2020 NFL Draft. If you guys are new here and love football, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We've gained 1,000 a day for the past few days. It's been absolutely incredible. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the draft content analysis so much. It makes the hundreds of hours of watching tape worth it, because now I actually have some credibility and can actually insightfully talk about some of these players in the draft. And I would like to talk to you guys today about some of my favorite picks of day 2. Now, I had a lot of favorite picks. I had a lot of picks I liked in day 2. I think teams did a great value about, taking the talent that fell to them in the draft. So that being said, I cannot include everyone on this list. There are plenty of great picks that are not making the cut. So if you're saying, oh, what about this guy? Maybe. Yeah, it could have been. It could have made the list, but we had to choose, only a few. And by few, I mean like 10 that would end up making the video. And if you want to see the worst version of this, in terms of the worst picks of day 2, that's also a video on the channel. Talked about the best and worst picks of day 1 as well. Hit that subscribe button if you check those out. And as you are watching this, I'm probably live on Twitch for day 3 of the NFL Draft, rounds 4 to 7 on my Twitch. Twitch.tv/Bengal. Link is in the description. And if you have any questions, make sure to tweet at me. It's the best place to reach me. Twitter.com/Bengal Designs. Once again, link is in the description. But let's go ahead and talk about one of my favorite picks yesterday, which was Zack Baun. Fell all the way to the 3rd round, pick number 74, and the Saints did not hesitate. I think they actually moved up to get him. This was a very good selection. Baun could have been someone that snuck into the 1st round. He was outside of the 1st round on my big board, but I think no one would have been truly surprised to hear his name called in the 1st round, and here he goes at the end of the 2nd. No. Beginning of the 3rd, yes. He finally gets taken. And the Saints grab a pretty good edge rusher that can also play off the ball. I almost died there. I choked on air. It happens to the best of us. But Zack Baun, really good pick by the Saints, who I think have actually had a pretty good draft so far. As we move on to an offensive lineman in Lloyd Cushenberry, played center at LSU and was fantastic. Was a big reason why LSU was so successful this past year. Their offense was historically amazing. The best of all time, you could say, almost definitively. And Joe Burrow and great receivers and a great running back obviously played a big part in that, but a great offensive line led by Lloyd Cushenberry was also a gigantic factor in that. And the Broncos, who needed to upgrade offensive line, guard is a big issue for them. They take Lloyd Cushenberry. Now, he could be their starting center. They lost Matt Paradis a couple years ago, and this could be a very big replacement for them. They have a bunch of versatility on that offensive line. Their tackles are not great with Garrett Bowles, and don't really know what's going on with Juwan James. But Dalton Risner has the ability to play all 5 positions in the offensive line, really. So Lloyd Cushenberry can just be that plug-and-play center, and then Dalton Risner can play wherever you need him to. He's just that talented of an offensive lineman. So I really like this pick by the Broncos. Lloyd Cushenberry fell to 83, and they managed to take some more exciting positions in Jerry Jeudy at 15, and then even KJ Hamler in the 2nd round. They got some talented wide receivers, some pieces for Drew Lock to play with next season, and Lloyd Cushenberry helps out the offensive line in a big way. Next up, we have Marlon Davidson. This was a fringe 1st-round talent for me. I love Marlon Davidson a lot. Now, he kind of played a weird position at Auburn, where he was an edge rusher because the talent on the defensive line at Auburn was so massive with Nick Coe and especially Derek Brown, who was their nose tackle. Marlon Davidson was forced to play the edge, and he's not really an edge rusher, yet he was so dynamic and talented that he made a huge impact coming off the edge. I think this is someone that clearly slides inside to play defensive tackle. I think his profile fits someone that could be dominant as an interior pass rusher. I love Marlon Davidson. And for the 49ers, who are not here, for the Falcons, who so desperately needed to improve that interior of their defensive line, and their defensive line as a whole, go out and they sign an edge rusher in Dante Fowler Jr., and now they bring in some more talent on the defensive line, this time probably and hopefully on the interior in Marlon Davidson, who I think is a fantastic player. Really, really great pick there by the Falcons, not the 49ers, as the Browns also made a great pick. Grant Delpit, who, and I've talked about this if you watch any of my mock drafts, any of my analysis videos for prospects over the past year, Grant Delpit did not deserve to win the Jim Thorpe Award for best DB in the nation. Absolutely did not deserve to win it. He was maybe the 3rd best defensive back on his team last year. However, he was certainly the best DB in the nation 2 years ago when he did not win the award. So it's almost like the writers just gave it to him because they felt bad for screwing that up a year prior. Grant Delpit was amazing his sophomore season. Was not so amazing last year, unfortunately. Had some ups and downs, didn't really tackle too well, but his junior year says that this is a guy that can be a fantastic tackler and someone that could be a big hitter and especially play great coverage. Grant Delpit is a stud, and it seems like the Browns, yet again, had a great player fall into their laps. Now it's about coaching these guys up, getting them ready to play on Sundays, and winning some football games. Grant Delpit is a stud. You've had player after player over the past couple years just fall to you. In Greedy Williams last year, in Mack Wilson last year, in Jedrick Wills this year, in Grant Delpit this year. Do something with this young talent. It's about coaching them up, about putting them in the best position to win. And if they can develop these guys, the Browns are going to be a scary team. But I feel like we've been saying this for the past couple years now. It's time to finally show something, Cleveland. Do the Browns have what it takes to be a competitor in the AFC North? Coaching is going to determine a huge factor in that, but Grant Delpit was an awesome pick at 44. Another guy that you could easily see being a first-round guy. Next up, another guy that could have been a first-round guy out of LSU. Kristian Fulton went at number 61, pick number 61, and again is another guy that could have been maybe taken as early as 16, where AJ Terrell went to the Falcons. Kristian Fulton is a talented player, a little bit raw technique-wise, but played against some of the top competition in the nation and looked very, very good at times. Fulton is a talented player that joins a pretty talented secondary already in Tennessee, but Fulton is a solid addition to that defensive back group. They have some solid safeties. Kenny Vaccaro played really well last year. Kevin Byard's one of the best free safeties in the NFL. Kristian Fulton now is going to help out a whole ton at cornerback. As we move on to Xavier McKinney. I could not have this on there. I know I'm a Giants fan, but this is bias aside. Xavier McKinney was my number 18 ranked player in the draft. If you checked out my ranking video, my big board, if you will, just you got to call it ranking for the YouTube algorithm. That just is something that does particularly well. Usually people love the ranking videos, and you guys have shown great support on some of those. But Xavier McKinney absolutely had to be on this list. This is someone that I absolutely loved at Alabama. And now he ran slow at the combine, ran about, 4.61, 4.63. I don't care because he plays way faster on tape. His instincts are crazy. This is someone that can be effective playing over the top if need be, but does his best work in the box. This is an incredible tackler. He's really reminiscent of Landon Collins in a lot of ways, except I think he adds a lot as an actual cover guy. Xavier McKinney is a really, really good player, and I could not be more thrilled with this selection by the Giants. I'm so excited that he's on the team because the Giants have struggled so greatly on defense, and this is a player that can be super impactful in stopping the run and also someone that can help stop teams just destroying the Giants through the air. Xavier McKinney was a fantastic pick. I cannot talk this up enough. Now, it's going to be another question whether he actually develops and becomes a great NFL player, but all the pieces, all the tools are there. He's a great college player and someone that I could have easily seen being a first-round pick. The fact the Giants got him at 36, I'm ecstatic. As we move on to another New York team, the New York Jets, who got Denzel Mims at pick 59. This was a guy who is fantastic at Baylor, really. He's got an unreal catch radius, fantastic hands. This is who the Steelers probably should have taken instead of Chase Claypool. Denzel Mims is a big body who can go up and catch the football. And guess what? He's quick too. He wasn't really asked to do a whole lot in terms of running routes at Baylor. His route tree was fairly limited, but his three-cone was exceptional. It showcases the quickness that can be there, and he can definitely develop even more as a route runner. Denzel Mims has a ton of potential, and the Jets, who needed a talented receiver, they only really have Jamison Crowder right now. This was a great pickup. And now I know the Jets have more than just Jamison Crowder. People are going to get mad at me for saying that, but Denzel Mims is someone that can come in and maybe not start right away, but can earn a starting spot and be a starting receiver in the NFL for a while. So Denzel Mims has a ton of potential. We'll see if he ends up living up to it. Great pick. As we move on into another receiver, this one was at the end of the third round, pick number 81. Or middle to end of the third round, nearing that way. Bryan Edwards out of South Carolina. Now, I don't think that this was, amazing value for the selection. I think this is about where he could have gone. But this just is a pick that fits the Raiders so well right now. They're stockpiling receivers. They have Tyrell Williams, and Bryan Edwards is probably going to compete for Tyrell Williams' job. I mean, they're the same X receiver. When you look at the other side of the football, Henry Ruggs can be that Z, and then you have Hunter Renfrow in the slot. You have a lot of potential for receivers to break out on the Raiders and their offense to be unstoppable, especially with Darren Waller, tight end. Now, I know they drafted Lynn Bowden Jr., who's more of a gadget player. I'm not sure he is a defined position, although he'll probably be listed on the depth chart as a receiver and probably will compete for reps in the slot. But Bryan Edwards is someone that can go out and be a jump ball, red zone threat receiver. This is like an upgraded version of Marcel Aitman, who they have already, former Oklahoma State receiver. So I love Bryan Edwards for the Raiders because he fits exactly what they don't have, which is a sick jump ball receiver that can go up and make those amazing catches. And just if he can develop the consistency of those hands and focus on eliminating concentration drops, no pun intended on the focus there, this can be a fantastic player and a fantastic situational pickup for the Raiders, who have had an interesting draft, to say the least. That's all I'll say on that. As we move on to the Bills, who took AJ Epenesa, just a perfect scheme fit for the Bills. This is someone who's an edge rusher, but has the flexibility to move inside and probably would be most effective as a traditional 3-4 defensive end. I think Epenesa is a really, really good player, and I think the Bills is a fantastic landing spot for him. Now, I know they're running a 4-3. That's all well and good. That's fine. But Epenesa has that ability to not only play on the edge, but slide inside. When in passing situations, moving him inside the defensive tackle is going to be probably unstoppable. The Bills have a great defense, and this is a great addition to that defense. I love this pick for Buffalo. Two more remaining. This one being Justin Madubuike out of Texas A&M. Great player. See defensive tackles fall in the draft all the time, and a bunch of probably worse defensive tackles went before Justin Madubuike, and the Ravens continue their stellar draft. I know I'm going to do a grading every team in the draft and maybe ranking every team in the draft. I can tell you the Ravens are probably going to be at the top of that list right now because they've drafted so many studs, Justin Madubuike being one of them. At pick number 71, how did this guy fall all the way down here? Ravens got a fantastic pickup and continue their just unreal draft. Last pick is going to be Adam Trautman. He went at the end of the third round, pick number 105. Saints had to move up, and they traded a lot to get him, but this is a starting tight end, and that's something the Saints have really not had since Jimmy Graham. I know they've had some guys come in and out that have been okay. Kobe Fleener is a name that jumps to mind, even though he wasn't particularly effective there. Adam Trautman was, in my opinion, one of the best tight ends in the draft, if not the best tight end in the draft. He is someone that blocks better than anyone in the draft at tight end. He's someone that has good hands, a good feel for route running, a good feel for running through space and finding the gaps in the zone coverage. He's just a really, really talented player. And I don't mind trading so many picks to move up here to the back end of the third round when you can take a starter day one. It's not like, oh man, we can't line him up because he's a pure receiver and he doesn't really block all that well. Not the case. Fantastic blocker. And it's not like, okay, this is just a blocking tight end that comes in running situations, because this is someone that catches the football and runs routes really well as well. This is a dynamic weapon because of all that he can do for the Saints. And when you look at, okay, maybe they don't have the best receivers right now outside of Michael Thomas. I know they brought in Emmanuel Sanders, and that's a big addition, as old as he is right now. But they get a fantastic tight end. This is not Josh Hill, right? This is Adam Trautman, and he can be a very, very good starting tight end. I love this pick for the Saints. Tremendous value here at the end of the third round. But that is going to do it for my favorite picks of day two. Obviously, there were more that I didn't mention, but let me know what some of your favorites were that I missed out on. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.